The St. John of Damascus Orthodox Educational Initiative presents the Damascene Podcast.
Chapter 34. How he saw the soul of a man who had been killed by falling from a tree ascend to heaven. But now this man of God, foreseeing his end approaching, had determined to lay aside the duties of his pastoral office and return to his former solitary life, that by shaking off the cares of this life he might occupy himself amidst unrestrained psalmody and prayer in preparing for the day of his death, or rather of his entrance into everlasting life. He wished first to go round his parishes and visit the houses of the faithful in his neighborhood, and then, when he had confirmed all with such consolatory admonitions as should be required, to return to the solitary abode which he so longed after. Meanwhile, at the request of the noble and holy Virgin, the Abbess Elfleda, of whom I have before made mention, he entered the estate belonging to her monastery, both to speak to her and also to consecrate a church therein. For there was there a considerable number of monks. When they had taken their seats at the hour of repast, on a sudden Cuthbert turned away his thoughts from the carnal food to the contemplation of heavenly things. His limbs being much fatigued by his previous duties, the color of his face changed, his eyes became unusually fixed, and the knife dropped from his hands upon the table. The priest who stood by and ministered to him, perceiving this, said to the abbess, "Ask the bishop what he has just seen, for I know there was some reason for his hand thus trembling and letting fall the knife, whilst his countenance was also changed so wonderfully. He has surely seen something which we have not seen." She immediately turned to him and said, "I pray you, my lord bishop, tell me what you have just seen, for your tired hand did not let fall the knife just now without some cause." The bishop endeavored to conceal the fact of his having seen anything supernatural, and replied in joke, "I was not able to eat the whole day, was I? I must have left off some time or other." But when she persisted in her entreaty that he would tell the vision, he said, "I saw the soul of a holy man carried up to heaven in the arms of angels." "From what place," said she, "was it taken?" "From your monastery," replied the bishop, upon which she further asked his name. "You will tell it me," said he, "tomorrow when I am celebrating Mass." On hearing these words, she immediately sent to the larger monastery to inquire who had been lately removed from the body. The messenger, finding all safe and well, was preparing to return in the morning to his mistress, when he met some men carrying in a cart the body of a deceased brother to be buried. On inquiring who it was, he found that it was one of the shepherds, a worthy man, who, having incautiously mounted a tree, had fallen down and died from the bruise, at the same time that the man of God had seen the vision. He immediately went and told the circumstance to his mistress, who went forthwith to the bishop, at the time consecrating the church, and in amazement, as if she were going to tell him something new and doubtful. "I pray thee," said she, "my lord bishop, remember in the Mass my servant Hodwald," for that was his name, "who died yesterday by falling from a tree." It was then plain to all that the holy man possessed in his mind an abundant spirit of prophecy, for that he saw before his eyes at that moment the man's soul carried to heaven, and knew beforehand what was afterwards going to be told him by others.